We just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to continue the March to the King, and we're going to continue this series of questions that was sent in to us by Richard Newell. We had a very compelling discussion last week regarding Godzilla and the aftermath of such an attack. So if you bear with me, as you can tell, my voice is a little hoarse. Now I seem to be losing my voice while still somewhat suffering from the flu, but I am feeling a lot better. So this time we're going to look at the other question, which is what procedures would be put in place and what defenses would be built? And this is a good question because really when you sit down and think about it, what can you do? Honestly, what can you do? The best you can do is try and guard the coast. I mean, we could exercise what they did in Pacific Rim with building walls, but I mean, we know damn well that Godzilla or any monster in that universe is just going to break right through that. That's not going to do anything. The only other thing I can think of is not necessarily putting in place a defense system or anything, but putting in place a procedure to mitigate, not necessarily the damage, because I think that's just, you're going to have to just deal with that, but mitigate the losses. And I think that's probably the most important thing. And I think the best way to do that is to really set up a military defense on the coast of, the United States or another country or whatever, and just unload on these monsters or Godzilla when they arrive. It's much like the Japanese movies is what they did. They used to front load the coast with tanks and army personnel, enough time for the cities to get evacuated. And quite frankly, I really think that's all you can do. Even in the Legendary series, I mean, remember, he just kind of walked right by the military when they were firing at him. He really didn't even engage them. So in some ways, it would be even more difficult because the 2014 G does not really pay attention. Like, yeah, I mean, it kind of affects him, but he did not strike back. He just said, all right, you want to hit me? That's fine. I'm still going to go where I need to go. So that could even be more difficult with this Godzilla because if he gets to the coast, you start unloading on him and he just walks by you. You know what I mean? What can you do? You would have to try and find a weapon that could somewhat temporarily neutralize him. It would just be so difficult. The only way they could develop a weapon that would kind of hit him on at a weak point and maybe slow him down is if they get samples of his skin or his cells or his, kind of like if, he fought the Muto in San Francisco, right? So once he leaves, he got cut, he bled. There's got to be samples of tissue lying around. I think that's where your starting point is to kind of study that, study his biology and try and get an idea of what can slow this monster down. Maybe kill him, but we don't know that. And that's it. I mean, I can't, building a wall is not going to do anything. It doesn't matter how many rockets or missiles or whatever you have, that's not going to do anything. Maybe you can unload on him enough to provoke him to engage you, which is what you want while people escape the city, but you're really not going to stop it. It's a force of nature. That's what he's been described as. And any force of nature that man has had to deal with, it's always about mitigating. It's never about stopping. You can't stop a hurricane. You can't stop a tornado. You can only mitigate it. Warning systems, restructuring your house to have better foundation, things like that. That's it. There's really no defense against a kaiju or any kind of force of nature, any kind of monster. Unless they develop a weapon. And even if they develop a weapon, it would take a number of years for them to study his biology to really understand what they can develop to either slow him down or kill him, So, and of course, this is all the severe. I mean, we're talking movie-wise, obviously this is not real, but, but I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. I really can't see how you would stop him. I really can't. You build a wall, it's a matter before he takes it down. You stack up military, he might just walk right by you and not even, not even acknowledge the fact that you're shooting with missiles or guns and stuff. And then he enters the city and he starts destroying and people still die because they didn't have enough time to evacuate. It's tough. It's tough to come up with any kind of defense for this. Hey, watching 29, 30 movies, I can't think of one. I really can't. So in terms of that question, I think setting up defenses, the best thing to do is to come up with some sort of early warning system. You would have to keep some ships with a good radar and ships that can detect him and give you a rough estimate of when he's going to touch down, warn people to leave the city, or find a bunker or something like that. Maybe building bunkers within the city is another good, defense mechanism. Instead of worrying about all the traffic to get out the city and all the time needed to get through that, building large bunker shelters around the city sporadically where people can get to, that could be another way to go. You know, they kind of did that in Pacific Rim when the guy was just trying to run away from the Kaiju, and he ran down into that bunker with all those people, and eventually the Kaiju dug his way in and got him, or almost got him. But yeah, that's something else. I think an early warning system of when he's going to touch down. I think bunkers around the city for people to escape to. You still want people to evacuate the city as well to guarantee safety. You're gonna have damage. There's no way you're not going to have damage. But the interesting thing about this Godzilla 2014 is that he's not out to destroy. He seems to be specifically going after something. So, you know, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how in the sequel they're gonna try and come up with a way to deal with him or mitigate when he touches down. They might have a surveillance team on him ahead of time. You know, they might follow him to where he's sleeping, and they might survey him and get an idea of where he might even head to, and really get an early warning system out there. So, but that's the best I can think of. So what do you guys think? What would you do to set up defenses and find ways to mitigate Godzilla approaching a city, or any monster for that matter, in the Godzilla universe, the Muto, so to speak? And yeah, what would you do? Comment below. This is Rob signing off for ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching ETN. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Join the nation's Facebook page to meet other subscribers, or visit ETN's Facebook page and Twitter page. Links for all are in the description. You're watching ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to continue the March to the King. And we're going to continue this series of questions that was sent in to us by Richard Newell. We had a very compelling discussion last week regarding Godzilla and the aftermath of such an attack. So if you bear with me, as you can tell, my voice is a little hoarse. Now I seem to be losing my voice while still somewhat suffering from the flu, but I am feeling a lot better. So this time we're going to look at the other question, which is what procedures would be put in place and what defenses would be built? And this is a good question, because really when you sit down and think about it, what can you do? Honestly, what can you do? The best you can do is try and guard the coast. You know, I mean, we could exercise what they did in Pacific Rim with building walls.